Welcome to the Rotoworld 12-team 9-cat mock draft. I am Raphielle Johnson, joined by great colleagues Zach Hanshew and Noah Rubin. Guys, how you doing tonight?
What's up?
I'm doing good, Raph. I'm pumped to be here. Pumped to be drafting. Yeah. It's always a good day when you're drafting.
Yeah, I hear you. Obviously, we've got more teams playing preseason games. Dallas played this afternoon, lost to Real Madrid. Big news there. Luka Doncic left calf strain, only played 5 minutes. Wanted to step out there for the homecoming, so to speak, for him. I'm sure we'll talk about him quite a bit in this draft that we're doing right now. Just want to also shout out Sloan Piva, the Sporting News. He is participating in this draft, but he won't be going on camera. So thank you to him and thank you to everyone else for joining up. As I noted in the intro, 12 teams, 9-category mock draft. Noah will be picking second. Zach, you're in the 6th spot, and I am in the 8th spot. So we go through it. I'm sure we can talk about various strategies, what we're thinking, punting, or anything of that effect, because we're about to get started in 30 seconds time here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been picking 2 in pretty much every mock I've done this off season. So Embiid has been in my queue for about 30 minutes now, so I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, there you go.
I think my biggest question is what happens if Halliburton doesn't fall to me at 6? I mean, after I'm finished crying, who do I pick?
We restart.
Here we go.
Predictable. Nikola Jokic is the first player. Ward?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and throw in, like I said, my Embiid pick, taking him at 2. Just pretty easy. I think it's pretty straightforward, the first 2 picks. I think after that is kind of when you get into different opinions, but first 2 picks are pretty straightforward.
Agreed. Embiid, I think he finished second in 9-cat last season as well. So we're expecting similar production. And for both of you guys, does the James Harden situation impact your thinking about Embiid at all?
I don't think so. I don't think that impacts. I think Embiid is going to perform how Embiid's going to perform regardless of who's occupying the point guard spot. So I think he's a safe pick at 2. Or if you really want to get wild, I think I'd be fine taking him with my first overall pick as well.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I know you've projected, or you had him in your projections as your number 1 guy. Is that something you'd actually like? If you have the number 1 pick in a mock or a money draft tomorrow, would you actually consider Embiid?
Absolutely, I would. Absolutely.
Would you pull the trigger?
I still don't think I'd pull the trigger. I don't know if I would do it.
My bad. I'm distracting you. I didn't realize.
Zach is actually on the clock here. He's going with Giannis.
Let's do it.
And Jason Tatum is off the board.
Let's get freaky.
I'm on the clock here. I'm going to play conservative here and just draft Stephen Curry in the 8th spot.
All right.
Yeah, I think getting Steph at 8 is pretty good value. He's generally going either 6th or 7th in every draft that I've been a part of. So getting a guy at 8 that on a per game basis has top 5 upside. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. All right, so Zach, with you taking Giannis in the 6th spot, are you kind of beginning a free throw punt now, or is just kind of I just want to go with Giannis because I think he's going to bounce back this year?
He's going to bounce back this year, and as everybody and their grandmother has alluded to, I mean, right? He finished outside the top 100 in a vacuum because fantasy basketball Z scores really drug his value down. You lead the league in free throw attempts. You shoot sub 70%, you're going to look like garbage from a fantasy basketball perspective. But, I mean, this guy does everything else extremely, extremely well. So, I'm punting free throws here. That's the build I'm going to go with. I think when you take Giannis, you almost have to if you want to take him with the top 5 selection. Or top 6 here in this case.
Yeah, and you probably could grab a few really good free throw shooters to kind of negate that if you wanted to, but I think leaning in on the punt is definitely the best strategy because you might as well. He's going to dominate in about 6 categories or be really good in about 6 of them. and then turnovers, free throws, and he's not really doing too much from three, so don't need to worry about that when you have a guy dominating everywhere else.
Exactly.
Raph, you're about to be back up. Who are you kind of thinking with this next one?
You know, if Anthony Davis is on the board, I think he would be my obvious pick. But after that, I think if anything, this may be the start of a blocks punt for me. I feel like you can get some quality centers down the line who don't really give you block shots. I looked it up. Only 28 players who qualified to be ranked in blocks per game, average 1 per game last season. So it's not really something that, like, if you don't get a high level guy, I think you can kind of set yourself up for a quality punt in that category as it is. So Sabonis is off the board. So my explanation goes out the window as well. I'm going to draft Anthony Davis.
Oh, don't do it, man.
Yeah.
Raph.
I wanted Sabonis, but
I'm sure
he was taken.
Raph.
Jaren Jackson Jr. went too. So
goodness. Yeah, if you don't have to deal with the injury bug, you just got 2 top 5 players. So way to go, Raph, so far.
Thank you. And Zach, you're on the clock, so we'll kind of let you kind of do your thing. Noah, right now, I think your pick was Embiid. Are you looking for anything in particular with this second pick in terms of a player or even like a statistical categories?
Yeah, I think the strategy that I think I've seen other people do as well that I've kind of leaned into is taking Embiid at 2 and then going with a bit of an assist punt, because Embiid's pretty good across the board, but assists, he's just kind of average. If I'm starting off with the center, there's a lot of guys that I can get throughout the draft that are good at categories that line up with Embiid's points, rebounds, blocks, field goal percentage that aren't really getting a lot of assists. So there's definitely a few guys on the board. Now that Zach's already picked, I can kind of throw out names as well. I think, guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, probably some guys, Lowry Markkanen as well, maybe him on the flip, kind of looking here. Desmond Bane's ADP is 24.4, and I've seen people take him in the second round. It just feels a tad early for me. Are either of you guys second round Bane truthers?
I think in theory it sounds nice, but it's kind of like you asked with Embiid and Jokic. It sounds good, but when it actually comes time to pull that trigger, are you going to make the move? And I don't know that I would take him within the top 24.
Yeah, I think for me, the earliest I'd take him is that round 2-3 turn. Maybe that with that second pick, that would probably be the earliest that I'd take him. I don't think I can take him second round either. I do think he has a chance to finish as that type of player. But yeah, I don't know if I have the stones to actually go through with a second round pick for him.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Jimmy Butler. I've been talking him up a little bit. He played in 64 games last year and was a top 10 per game player. Yeah. I know, Zach, you were all in on the emo Jimmy and him showing up to media day with his haircut, or excuse me, I guess it really wasn't his haircut, but with the emo look. So I think he's just going to be really good once again. The Heat aren't going to be able to rest him much if they want to avoid the play-in tournament. I don't think, as great as and crazy as their run was, I don't think they're going to be looking to try and get back to the play-in tournament and make another miraculous run. I think they realized, by the time the Boston series came around, Jimmy Butler was pretty exhausted from getting them that far. They were relying on Cody Martin and Gabe Vincent. So I think Jimmy Butler is going to play around 65 games again. And when he's on the court, he's a top 10 player.
All right. Zach, with your second pick, 19th overall, you went with Pascal Siakam. What do you like about him in terms of his fantasy game? Even with a new head coach, and he's going into the final year of his contract too. So what are your thoughts on Siakam?
I reached a little bit here. I know it's not common to take him, inside the top 20 there. But with the punt free throw build, that's not one of his strong suits. Yeah. With Fred VanVleet gone, I think we see Scotty Barnes step up tremendously. And, of course, we see Siakam step up as well. last year we saw just how capable he could be as a passer. We know what he can do as a scorer, as a rebounder, even hitting some outside shots as well. So I think with Siakam, you're going to get high-level production, big minutes. He's not going to miss a ton of games. So I think he fits in pretty well with this team alongside Giannis. And I should be able to get a couple of other guys here, with my third pick that I was eyeing anyway. I'll tell you who one of them will not be, LeBron James, who I do not trust to play too many games this season.
Yeah.
He makes me very, very nervous.
I think that roster is deep to the point where they won't have to push him too far during the regular season. I think that's my biggest concern with him in fantasy this year.
I agree with you.
He's going to be really, really good when he's on the court, but wow, yeah.
31st pick. Oh, man.
And there is.
That's the preseason effect right there.
Yeah. We can talk about this a little later, but the gap between Wemby and Chet Holmgren is a bit too big for my liking in terms of fantasy and I guess real life basketball too. I don't think they're separated by as much as some people seem to be making it out to be right now.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I tweeted something earlier in the day about would you rather take Wemby in the second or third round or Chet in the 4th to 5th round? And overwhelmingly, it's like over 80% said they'd rather have Chet 2 rounds later. Yep. And I totally agree. I think I called him wish.com Wemby at some point when I was on a show with Noah earlier. But I mean, it's the same skill set, right? You're 7'2" plus. You can handle. You can shoot. You blocking shots at a high level. Maybe Wemby gives you a little bit more, but I'm in total agreement with you here, Raph. I don't think the gap is 2 rounds.
Yeah, Wemby, he'll have more usage as a rookie. I think playing alongside guys like SGA, Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams, it'll kind of cap Chet Holmgren's production, but if you watch the game last night and also look at the numbers, I mean, it's right next to each other. Maybe Wemby had the ball in his hands a little bit more to be able to create some. But man, that was one, just an incredibly fun game. But two, definitely Chet's a guy that I'm going to end up with on more of my teams. In a lot of the drafts that I've done, whether it's mocks or real drafts, I've ended up getting Chet kind of late in the 4th round. As long as Zach or Raph, as long as neither of you guys take him from me, maybe it's a tad early for you guys. Fingers crossed that it is. I'm probably going to be taking it. Oh, come on. I can actually see that on the screen.
Oh, and there he goes.
Are you serious? I forgot that my doggone queue is showing up. And
Raph.
Someone's
showing Raph.
Anyway.
As I'm saying it, I'm like seeing it, like all the names disappear. It's just 2 names right there. I see the star. I'm like, he's actually going to do this. I can't give analysis anymore because anybody I say I know is going to get taken.
No, I was planning on going with him because you see where I am in this 4th round. He wasn't going to be available to me in the 5th. And obviously goes off the board here, pick number 38. So, yeah, I just wish I'd been smart enough to realize that my queue was showing up on the screen in addition to everything else because I wouldn't be doing that. And I'm on the clock here. And, oh, man.
Don't snipe me again, brother.
I don't know what I'm going to do here. I think I'm going to go with De'Aaron Fox here.
Oh, you're Raph.
I'm sorry.
Wow. And then Jordan Poole went the pick after Zach.
Yeah.
Dude, you might be the worst.
Yeah. 9-cat, his turnovers can be a bit of a concern, but I think he does so much in the other categories that it really doesn't matter.
Oh, you might be the worst person I've ever met, dude. De'Aaron Fox, give me a break.
Goodness.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're doing it. Well, who do I want? You know what? I'm doing it, man. I need a guard. Punt free throw percentage. Going to get some high-level assists this season. I think he's actually going to take a step up from when he was playing last season in Milwaukee. Let's go with J. Rue.
Ooh. J. Rue, the damager. Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think he's an interesting pick, now that you bring him up. I think he hasn't finished outside of the top 50 the last 5 or 6 years. Every season outside of his rookie year, he's been at minimum a top 100 player, probably top 75 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Is there any concern about him in Boston where you have that roster, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum going to have the ball in their hands a lot, Derek White? Is there any concern, or is just, Drew's going to be Drew at this point?
Drew's going to be Drew at this point. I mean, he was putting up elite numbers when he was playing alongside Giannis, who scored 30, and Middleton when he was scoring 20. So, combine 50 points from your two primary ball handlers. That's what he's going to get this season with Tatum and Brown. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they have KP there, as you mentioned, Derek White. But I really think Drew's going to be the one running the offense. And if he's not asked to do as much as a scorer, that just gives him a little more energy on the defensive end, which, we all know that's where he excels. So I think he's going to give me some high-level assists and some high-level defensive stats, and that's exactly what I'm looking for right here. Ooh. There's no way Scotty Barnes gets back to me. There's no way. Like, I'm going to speak it into existence.
You have to be
going to rack up all the Raptors, huh?
Zach, like I pick again before you.
I know you do. Man. Okay. You guys are just doing this just to mess with me at this point.
No, like I really like Scotty Barnes too. That's the thing, is I was gonna take DeMar. Look at DeMar, he just went. So now it's like, who's my next best guy here? Is it Scotty Barnes? It might be. But I just went OG Anunoby, so I might not want to stack two Raptors. I'll let you be the guy that stacks two Raptors.
I heard DeAndre Ayton was supposed to be like really good this year, like a top 20 guy maybe. Maybe you should pick him.
Okay.
I'm curious to see how far he ends up falling.
Yeah. What do we make of that center situation in Portland? Because it's like we went in like a 48-hour time span. We went from excited about DeAndre Ayton to here comes Robert Williams. Like, even if Robert doesn't start, still talking about a situation that could be more of a timeshare than anyone expected, when that first trade happened.
Yeah, I ultimately think at the end of the day, Robert Williams has more fantasy value than Ayton. And maybe that's the hot take of the day, but I don't think Williams needs as many minutes to be more productive just because of his high block rate and the elite field goal percentage you're going to get from him. So within a certain build, I think Robert Williams is going to end up being the better fantasy player this season.
I think Noah just got a steal too. Nick Claxton.
Nick Claxton.
At pick 50. I know he can't shoot free throws, but at pick 50, given what he can give you, especially as a shot blocker, and apparently they're going to be playing more drop coverage in Brooklyn. So that will be helpful for him. I don't think Day'Ron Sharp's going to be a fantasy factor, but that can maybe get him a few more minutes too. But what made you Claxton at number 50? Were you surprised to see him on the board at that point?
I wouldn't say surprised, but I feel like you could definitely take him earlier than that and feel very comfortable. I mean, I'd say top 50 is kind of his,
Oh,
floor.
Who just
went? Oh, man. We both wanted Walker Kessler.
It's kind of a similar no, you're good. Kind of a similar stat set to Kessler is Nick Claxton, but he's got high field goal percentage, low free throw percentage, but he doesn't shoot them much, so it doesn't really impact you a ton. But going to get a ton of blocks. He was snubbed from an all-defensive team. He's got that added motivation. I think it's going to be a good year for him.
There you go. No Kessler, no Şengün. I'm loving life right now. So, hey, 5th round. Let's roll the dice a bit.
Let's do it.
Go Zion.
Ooh.
I like that. I like that there. I like that there a lot.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think I just threw up in my mouth a little, Raph. Oh, man.
I mean, that's almost, what is that, pick 57-ish? And you're getting 56? A guy that, so when he's on the floor, he's phenomenal. He's just limited, low free throws, no threes. But, I mean, 25. What did he average? 25, 7, 5, something like that. Or I guess, yeah, something really good when he's on the floor. It's
25, 7, 4, 6, 4.6 assists, 1.1 steals, 0.6 blocks. Yeah.
Roll the dice at 57. I mean, you already, well, I guess you don't have a bunch of healthy guys on your team. Maybe it is a little bit riskier now that you have AD, Steph as well. But hey, if it hits, it hits.
Yeah, we're punting health on this team.
There we go. Punting games played. That's quite the strategy there.
Okay, so let's see here.
This Ayton guy is still on the board, Zach. Are you sure he's a top 20 guy?
That's what I've been told.
Whoa. No.
I don't know.
Anthony Simons at 58 is an interesting pick. What do you guys think of that one?
It was interesting. The word you were really thinking, Raph?
Yes. Yeah. Hey, we're nice on this podcast, so yes.
I like it. I think it's ambitious.
It's ambitious. Yeah,
it's ambitious.
There we go.
But like with Damian Lillard gone, like Anthony Simons could be Portland's leading scorer. Maybe they're number 2. If you look at his numbers last season or over the past 2 seasons when Dame doesn't play, he averages like 25 points and like 5 threes. So it's not going to be that over the course of the season, but he's going to have the ultimate. Now, everybody in the starting lineup is going to have the ultimate green light. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But Simons has always been really, really good when Dame isn't on the floor. I don't think it'll be quite as good as it has been in the past, but he's going to have a really good year. It might be a round early for me, but he still has that level of upside to take him there.
So that seems early.
Zach. Well, now one more guy for you to get. So.
Oh, they updated Derek White's picture, dude. You got bald Derek down here. Check him out, man. Does that boost the fantasy stock? Is that a better headshot than Emo Jimmy or what?
It evens out from him losing the starting point guard role. It evens out.
Lost the starting point guard job, lost the hairdo.
Hey, when MJ went bald, when Kobe went bald, he's just doing what LeBron won't. He's just cementing his GOAT status. That's what he's doing.
Yeah,
you heard it here first. In the same vein as Kobe and MJ, Derek White. Oh, Jabari Smith at 66. What is going on this? Oh, my Lord.
Raph,
I have to do it now.
Pick. Thank you.
I was glad. Now.
Watch Giddy and J-Dub go off the board right before that. So I'm happy to get Devin Vassell. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be he'll be San Antonio's second best fantasy option this year when you add Victor Wembanyama to the mix. So he got paid too. So it's quite clear that they believe in him quite a bit. So
yeah, I agree. It's hard to say because Wemby looked so good in that preseason game, but there's still question marks that I have about exactly how dominant. Yeah. It's crazy to use the word dominant for a rookie, but how dominant he'll be this year. Is he going to come in and just be exactly what everybody expects, or is he going to have some? I mean, there was as much fun plays as there were in that preseason game. There was also plenty of plays where you're like he's trying to do too much there. I think he had 4 turnovers in 20-something minutes. Like, is that going to be an issue? I think Devin Vassell's still going to compete for being the best fantasy player, but I think obviously the blocks is what's going to set Wemby apart because that is such a scarce category that you could see Wemby at minimum a block and a half, possibly more as a rookie. So I think it's kind of an unfair comparison at that point because of how many blocks Wemby gets. Oh shoot, Franz went. Dang. I was pretty surprised, but I was hoping he might slide to me there.
Yeah, we had Magic players going 2 straight picks. Zach, you took Paolo Banchero at 67th overall. His fantasy value wasn't great last year, but in terms of the raw numbers, clear rookie of the year. What are you expecting from Paolo coming into his second season in Orlando?
Yeah, man. I'm expecting a big jump in the efficiency department. Obviously, don't care about the free throw percentage here with the build that I'm going for. One of the weaknesses if you're doing a punt free throw percentage build is a lot of the time you can get these big guys who, rack up the blocks, the rebounds, the field goal percentage, low turnovers, but they don't score a lot. So in this case, I've got some guys on my team that don't care about the free throw percentage, but they're going to get me some points. This later on in a draft, getting a guy that's going to drop 20 to, potentially 22 or 23 a game, I think was a steal for me. And if he can bump up his efficiency and the field goal percentage, kind of like Josh Giddey did from year 1 to year 2, it's going to be a big season for Banchero.
And you were going with the free throw punt anyway, so that really fits there. He shot 73.8% last year. So you got to maximize the skill set. That's how you do it.
Yes, sir.
I just made my least favorite pick of this draft so far.
Brook Lopez. Yeah, go ahead.
On my explain myself. Yeah,
you don't have to explain yourself. Just talk through it. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it was my least favorite pick. I think I'm happy to get the blocks and threes. Was kind of rolling with an assist punt, so I'm not rushing to get any guards there. But all the guys that I like taking in this round, you guys either took or went off the board around you guys. Giddey, J-Dub, Devin Vassell, Banchero, Franz Wagner. I was about to take Jeremy Grant, got sniped on him. So, it's just kind of best guy available. I was hoping to get Tyler Hero on the flip, but now he goes. So kind of panicking. Yeah, got to figure this out. And I've maximized all my centers because I have 2 in my utility. So, oh, goodness.
Chris Paul's on the board.
He sure is, Raph. That's a great point. I'm gonna reach here and get a guy that I know because of where I'm drafting. He's probably not going to make it back around to me at 95. So, again, just clarify. Oh, goodness. Do I even want to reach that much? Yeah, I'm going to reach that much. I'm going to go Andrew Wiggins at 74. I think, if it's a reach, I think it'll be by a round, but I think that's kind of worst case scenario for him. I think he has a pretty high floor, but last season, the first month or so, he was a top 25 guy by 9-cat scoring. His free throws are still an issue, but he's able to average over a steal and over a block during that stretch. So he's kind of an all around player now, despite really only being a points guy for the first, 7 or 8 years of his career. I think if he can get back to being the player he was at the beginning of last season before all the injuries and the 2 months missed for personal reasons, I think if he can get back to that, that's going to end up being a steal for me. But again, his ADP, that's probably a tad of a reach. I mean, it's about 15 spots higher than his ADP, but I like Wiggins this year. I think it's going to pay off.
All right. Loving it, man. I think we talked about this on another show we were on, man. Wiggins is the glue for that team, man. I mean, maybe some people say it's Draymond Green, but I mean, Wiggins just does all the dirty work. He gets you, and for fantasy, man, he's so effective in so many different categories, which is something we never thought we'd say when he was playing for Minnesota. But man, great pick. All right.
Well, you just talked him up. So are you going to go with Derek White now or Robert Williams now, or either of them? I mean,
oh my God, dude! The level of restraint I'm taking to not take Big Bob Williams right here. Oh, I want him so bad. But you know what? I'm going to take a guy that I really like for this build. I've talked about points and assists. I'm going to go ahead and shore them up because this is the year for late round centers. I can get some good rebounds later in the draft. He's going to miss 25 games. I like him right here. I get the points. I get the assists. He's not a great free throw shooter. Noah, lower your eyebrows. It's Ja Morant.
Oh, Zach, my eyebrows were not raised because of your pick. It was the pick right after yours. I was a bit surprised to see Russell Westbrook go in the middle of the 7th round. But, no, I'm very happy to see – I mean, I think that's very fine for Ja Morant to get him there around – what did you say, pick 78 that was. So he's going to miss the first 25 games when he comes back. I mean, he's going to fit your build again as well. He's not a great free throw shooter. A lot of point guards are usually significantly better than he is, but – no, I have no issues with it.
All right.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Oh my
Westbrook
goodness.
at 79 is a bit surprising. I had the next pick. I decided to take not a full-on swing, but I like Mark Williams in Charlotte this year. You know, as long as LaMelo Ball can stay healthy, I think that two-man game could be really productive for them. Williams played well when he was put into the starting lineup after the trade deadline. I expect more of the same from him. I think Nick Richards can be a productive backup center, but I just hope they don't try to make this a full-on timeshare, because that could be the issue for Williams, if anything. I just think he's going to be too good for that personally, though.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm really high on him. I think having LaMelo there to run the pick and roll is going to set up a lot of really good opportunities for him. I think Charlotte has a pretty solid team, actually, despite being pretty atrocious last year. I think they're going to be able to compete for a play-in spot. But like you said, the Richards question mark is the biggest thing for Mark Williams. Is it going to be a 30 to 18 minutes? Not really split, but like, is that how it's going to look? Or is it going to be closer to like a 26-22? I mean, that ends up making more of a difference than it seems like. But no, I really like him as a talent. I like his fit in Charlotte. I think it's set up for a really good fantasy season.
Yeah. I think Mark Williams will be phenomenal this season. But, yeah, you can't forget about Naughty Nicky, man. He will be good in deeper leagues for sure.
Zach, if you had to give just like a rough estimate, what percentage of NBA players do you have a personal nickname for?
Ooh, I don't know. Over under 75.5,
maybe? I love it. I love it. I was just curious.
Now, what's the percentage that I can actually share on this family-friendly show? I don't know.
Hopefully like 50%, hopefully.
All right. We had another rookie go off the board at pick number 81 overall. Shake and Bake took Scoot Henderson. I feel like a lot of the things that Noah said about Anthony Simons earlier in the show apply to Scoot as well. Now, he may not be the three-point shooter that Simons is, but no Dame, somebody's going to have to run the show up there. And I think he's a prime candidate to do it.
Yeah, like I said, everybody in Portland's going to have the green light, right? It's going to be Scoot. It's going to be Simons, Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Grant, who went a pick before I could get him. I don't think DeAndre Ayton's thinking that this is the scenario that he thought it was going to be, that he was trying to get out of Phoenix to get more offensive opportunities, and now he's playing with 4 shot chuckers in the starting lineup. Not necessarily a bad way that they're taking all bad shots, but they're guys that are going to shoot the ball plenty. Scoot's going to have a lot of talent around him as a rookie. It's a great situation for him. He'll have those rookie point guard issues like turnovers and probably a low field goal percentage, but there aren't many better situations for him as a rookie to really maximize his stat set.
Let's see. So after Scoot, we had Clint Capella, Kyle Kuzma, Chris Paul at 84, which you understand, but it feels disrespectful in his career. Terry Rozier, Jalen Duren, Buddy Hield, Miles Bridges at 88. He'll be suspended for the first 10 games. And now I am on the clock, and I need scoring. So we're going to go with Jalen Green. I think he's someone who could really take off down in Houston, because it feels like they have actual structure down there. Fred VanVleet at the point, Ime Udoka head coach. They brought some other veterans in there who can kind of lead, show those guys the way. Prior teams, veterans, they really didn't help guys like Jalen Green at all those last 2 seasons. So I think he's someone that can be a bit more efficient. He gives more effort defensively. I think we're looking at a star in the making. That may be the biggest question for him right now.
Yeah, I think getting him at this point is something that, I'm totally fine with that. He's a guy that I'm not super high on, but getting him in the 8th round, I think 8th round was that pick in the 90s, 89. 89. So no problem taking him there. He's going to be a high scoring guy. Like you said, he's got veterans. He's got a good coach now. It's a good foundation. If Jalen Green's going to be the player that they drafted him to be, it's set up for that to happen now. So I like that. It's a really good upside pick there. His ADP is also about half a round early. No, excuse me, a full round earlier than that. So no issue with that.
No concerns with Jalen Green after Houston spent the offseason just making a cavalcade of bizarre additions to the roster. I mean, you got guys like Reggie Bullock and Jock Landale, Fred VanVleet, the $40 million man.
Mm-hmm. No, I think they have actual adults in the room now. I think reading that story, the feature on Jalen Green at ESPN.com about him essentially having to tell a veteran, you're supposed to show us how to do this. And obviously we saw how that worked. Team finished 22-60 last year. But it's like they have actual people in that locker room who can lead them. Like, your coaches can tell you everything that they know, but sometimes it helps to hear it from a peer. And I think it's going to help him, Şengün, Jabari Smith, to have some of those guys in the locker room now.
All right. Oh, and you got your guy, Noah?
I got my guy. All is well in the world. All is well.
Ball Derek, you got him.
Yeah. I feel I was getting him about 2 rounds earlier before the trade. So I think this is a fair ADP, and I think this is I'm totally happy getting him here, especially with my build, punt assists. I have a number of shot blockers, and getting a guy that can average a block per game from point guard. Very happy with that. The assists aren't really going to spike at all the way I expected them to hop up 2 assists per game. So not too concerned about that there. So I'm happy getting him at pick 95.
Yeah, it's a great spot for him. Oh, man, look at this. Coming up to pick 100, and we still got Chris Middleton. That's very disrespectful still on the board.
Yeah, and I can't even take him because I have a guard spot open, and I really just would rather – no. Oh, my gosh. Okay. I panicked. Yeah, okay, CJ McCollum. Needed a guard. Okay. Yeah, happy with that, just to be able to fill out the guard spot. Doesn't, quite fit my build right, but – gets me some points in the later rounds, so can't get mad at CJ McCollum around pick 100.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I'm praying that I get Robert Williams come back to me here. I get the next pick. Am I going to get sniped here? Because I'll be over the moon if I can get Robert Williams at pick 102. That would be filthy. Oh, my goodness. I was debating taking him last round, and I went with the Marcus Smart, Ja Morant handcuff, which I feel like I've taken in many drafts this year. I really love that. I don't know. I love that pairing this year. Oh, and Chris Paul, thank the good Lord. Here we go. Big Bob Williams is time.
There it is.
Oh, absolutely filthy team right here. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I don't know. Have you guys ever just gazed upon something so beautiful? I don't know. This team is just magnificent.
Now I have to go look at your team and just see if I actually agree or not.
It's not a bad group. I'll admit that.
It's halfway decent. I'll call it halfway decent.
Right. I'll take it.
Raph, what are you kind of thinking here with this next pick?
I'm patiently hoping that Michael Porter Jr. is not the pick here.
I
think he's going to have a good year. Another year removed from those injuries that kept him out for much of the season prior. I think he and Jamal Murray are in for pretty good 2023-24 seasons. See, I wonder if these people can hear us right now, because there he goes off the board.
My bad. That's on me for asking. You wouldn't even say it out loud. That's on me.
Yeah, I don't. At this point, I only have one small forward eligible guy on my roster, so I kind of have to look for those guys right now. We're going to take another swing here. Shaedon Sharpe.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Like I said, everybody in Portland's got the green light. Shaedon Sharpe has never seen a shot that he doesn't like. He's going to score a lot of points. How much else he provides, we'll kind of see. But he's going to score. He's going to hit threes. I'm excited to see what he can do in an expanded role.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're through 100 plus picks now. Who's your favorite pick so far? Who's the best value? Who's your guy? I mean, outside of Derek White, no.
I mean, honestly, that swing of pick or stretch of picks, Chris Middleton, then you getting Rob Williams, MPJ, getting all those guys in the 9th round, I think all very solid, very good value based on what we've seen so far. I like those 3. There's others that I'll keep looking, but I really do like those 3.
How about you, Raph? Who's your favorite pick that you've made so far?
I'm going to say Zion. I think I could go Devin Vassell as well, but that's a bit safe. I think Zion's upside is why I really like that pick. Get him 5th round, 8th pick of the 5th round. I think that's a fair spot for him, given the past injury concerns. But I think he's going to be really motivated to stay on the floor and make sure people know that he's Zion Williamson still and not just street clothes. So.
Excuse me, Zach, I misunderstood. I misunderstood your question. I thought you were just saying our favorite picks in general. I think my favorite pick for my team is Nick Claxton in the 5th round. So who's your favorite? I know Raph was just asking that. Who's your favorite pick from your team? Now that I understand the question.
Oh, who's my favorite pick for my team? Oh, man. It's going to have to be Robert Williams at 102, man. Robert Williams, league winner, dude. You heard it here first.
Oh.
League winner, especially if you can get him around that range. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, very good value in that range. I mean, he's probably going to come off the bench, but even when he was coming off the bench in Boston, he was still really good for fantasy. So, Does the knee concern you at all, Zach?
No, knee does not concern me at all. I think we're good heading into this season. You haven't heard anything more, about a potential injury for him. He should be good to go, man.
Yeah. It's funny, as we're doing this, I got a notification. Dylan Brooks has been ejected for a flagrant 2 for giving Daniel Tice a little love tap to the groin. So Dylan Brooks is in midseason form already.
Full of Draymond.
It's his first game in Houston. I mean, that's awesome.
He does not qualify as one of the adults in the room. And there goes Jaden McDaniels. That's unfortunate.
Did you see Ulcer Thompson just win at 111? Is that
preseason
hype just building?
That is Detroit Pistons starter, Ausar Thompson, that's going on. So that's I don't know. I like getting him later than that, but I have no issues taking him where he just went.
Let's see here. I think this is the point in the draft I'd usually go with DeAnthony Melton. I just don't know if I really need him, though. Nurkic and Valanciunas don't really do much for me in terms of centers. Oh, man. Yeah.
Not true.
I'm going to go with Josh Hart. I'll go with Josh Hart. He could play some power forward this season. I don't know if they want to be doing that for too long, but I think he's kind of a jack of all trades guy who can be decent in category leagues.
Yeah, and it's a hometown favorite for you. You got a New York player, so
yes,
that's right.
That's always good. That's always good. Zach, could you? Oh, okay. Not super surprised there. I was kind of thinking
Bruce Brown.
You might go ahead and go Bruce Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Ben Simmons in the queue too. I think he would have been a phenomenal pick for this build. But yeah, dude, you know me and Indiana players this season, man. I think there's about 8 of them I'd roster on my fantasy team.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, maybe Ben Simmons. And then I said, oh, maybe Bruce Brown. And then I said, oh, Gary Trent Jr., maybe. And then all 3 went. So I'm going to pivot and because I'm punting assists, but I have plenty of centers because I have, I believe, 3 center eligible players for 1 center spot. So I'm not desperate for bigs at this point. I'll probably go with a guard. I'm just deciding now between DeAnthony Melton and Jordan Clarkson, which one will make it back around to me because I can go both within 4 picks as long as one makes it back around. I'm going to go with Melton because I feel like Jordan Clarkson has a better chance of getting back around to me just because I feel DeAnthony Melton has a very fantasy-friendly skill set. And yeah, so Clarkson made back around to me. D'Anthony Melton is more of a, I don't know, like I said, fantasy-friendly skill set. More people like him in 9-cat leagues than Jordan Clarkson, but Clarkson's still going to get me a lot of points. Okay amount of assists. Like, I'm not like trying to lose assists, but I'm also certainly not going to win assists with the guys I have. So I think Clarkson fits in well with what I'm trying to do. And any field goal percentage issues that I could have with guys like McCollum, Jordan Clarkson, D'Anthony Melton will be kind of offset by Claxton, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler. So feel confident there as well.
Now, how do you evaluate Claxton based on the position he could be used at? He's part of that competition for the starting point guard job. Would you prefer him more in fantasy at the point or at the 2?
Wait, who? You said Claxton?
Jordan Clarkson.
Clarkson, excuse me. I'd probably view him more. I mean, it's just interesting in Utah because they don't have a true guy that you're going to say, okay, like he's definitely the point guard. They have a few guards that can play basketball well. So I imagine he'll kind of split ball handling duties with Colin Sexton in the starting lineup. Which one's the official point guard? Maybe it'll be Colin Sexton, but honestly, I just look at it as 2 guard starters, Clarkson as point guard and shooting guard eligibility on Yahoo. So I'll roll with that. But
Chris Dunn might be their best point guard, though. As surprising as that is to say.
Goodness gracious, is he their best playmaker on their team?
He might be. And Jaden Ivey's gone off the board at 127. I think that may be a bit high for me, especially in light of the news, regarding the starting lineup. Alzar's not an official starter, but it feels like we're headed in that direction. So be interesting to see what happens with Ivey in terms of his fantasy value.
Yeah, and the quotes from Detroit beat reporters and what Monty Williams was saying was that if Bojan Bogdanovic would have played, that he would have started. I think that was over Alec Burks, so that would have been Jaden Ivey coming off the bench. And I saw, I don't know if it was a direct quote or if it was just a report or suggestion or something, that Jaden Ivey needs to improve defensively before Monty Williams wants to insert him back into the starting unit. So he might be the sixth man for all season. Could just be to start the year. It might just be for preseason. We don't really know yet, but that is a bit concerning and probably a little too concerning for me to take him in round 11. Even if he is a really good talent, I still love his dynasty upside.
Now, Zach, the pick before that, you drafted Christian Braun. Obviously, Bruce Brown moving on to Indiana. Christian is someone who could definitely benefit. Is that pretty much what your line of thought was in making that selection?
Yeah, I think he was trending in the right direction all season. Obviously didn't play a big role for them in the regular season, but came alive. Game 3 of the finals, I think that was the one where he had 15 points. They had lost that game 2, and so that was kind of a pivotal game. And they gave him a lot of trust and confidence in that one. With Bruce Brown gone, I think he steps into a 6th man of the year role for them. He's going to be a candidate to win that award. And I think he's going to play some pretty big minutes. Denver's rotation is razor thin, man. So the starters are going to play big minutes, and I think he is too. I think he's got top 100 upside, and he's not getting drafted, in a lot of leagues.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's see. After the Brown pick, we had Jaden Ivey as discussed. I took Mike Conley. Old reliable, I guess you could say. Emmanuel Quickly at 129. Bobby Portis at 130. That could prove to be a bit low for him, especially if he starts. And then Dennis Schroeder at 131. Colin Sexton at 132. Any thoughts on those picks?
I like the Schroeder one a good bit. I mean, he's going to start in Toronto, be their starting point guard. It's not mean he's going to average 8 assists, but he's capable of providing some good numbers. So, no, I like that in the 11th round.
Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts here? I mean, do you guys, there's plenty of safe picks available right here, right? I mean, do you guys not enjoy maybe, or do you guys find yourself gravitating towards those safe picks? Or do you, would you rather go for somebody, just swing for the fences rather than take maybe a safer guy right here?
I'd rather swing. But the worst thing you can do is have to drop someone a couple weeks into the season. And I think you're talking like 13th, 14th round pick or so. That's not a big deal at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Just trying to get somebody that has either top 100 or top 75 upside here. Will that happen? I don't know. But like Raph said, worst case scenario, you drop them and you're probably going to be streaming players anyway. It's fantasy basketball. So not too concerned. Nobody I'm too attached to it with my picks over the last probably 3 rounds. That way you honestly do it on purpose because it's either you're getting the upside swing or it's somebody that you have no issues dropping. Because if you drop or you kind of get somebody here that's a little bit safer, maybe you feel a little bit less comfortable with dropping them as the season goes on. So I think that's something to kind of consider with your last 2 or 3 rounds.
Yes. He's still available.
Oh, speaking of a fence swing, Derek Lively.
I don't know if he's
in its head.
I started to type in his name while you were speaking, and then I remembered my cue.
I saw it. I saw LI. I was like, okay, Lively.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure he was still available, but yeah, I think, like I said, late rounds, I'm going to take a swing. I don't know if he's going to be the opening night starter, but Jason Kidd's giving him every opportunity to win that job. And I think the shot blocking, I don't know if he'll be Walker Kessler good in fantasy if he starts, but I think he can be a similar type center, especially playing that 2-man game with either Luka or Kyrie.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think, 5 rookies that have a chance to start opening night. It's the first 3 picks, Asar Thompson and Derek Lively. Maybe off chance Keontae George, but I think it's probably just looking like those 5 have the best chance. So getting a rookie starter that can provide blocks, like a good bit of them that late, I like the upside swing.
Yeah, I like it a lot too, man. Somebody's got to fill that void at center for Dallas.
Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you a guy I was looking at here. He's next up in the X ranks, but man, he bores the hell out of me. He's going to see a bunch of minutes, I think, with Trey Murphy sitting out for a little while. Herb Jones. Yeah. Any interest from you guys, or just kind of blah?
I like him, but yeah, I don't. I'd rather gamble at this point in drafts. So yeah, and he doesn't really represent much of a gamble to me.
No.
Yeah, I think he's a better real life player than fantasy. I mean, I have no doubt that he's going to be able to get steals, but not too much else. So I'd rather have somebody else that's really has a chance to be really good and also really good the whole season. And as soon as Trey Murphy comes back, his value is going to be pretty limited. So, all right, still have all 3 guys in my queue that I was trying to take my upside swings on. So let's see. I'm gonna get Chicago Bulls starting point guard Kobe White right here. I mean, that's more of like a maybe kind of thing. It's nothing's set in stone as far as him being the starting point guard, but that's kind of what it's trending towards. I know Zach really wanted Javon Carter to be in that role, but it's looking like Kobe White. So I'm going to take that swing.
Yeah. RIP Javon Carter's fantasy value in Chicago, man. I really was excited about it, man, as a fellow Mountaineer. But yeah, Kobe White was awesome the other day, and it does look like they want to give him that starting job. So great pick, Noah.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. One more upside swing. So I left the guy in my queue. Ain't no stopping Obi Toppin. That's gonna be a fun pick too. Just worst case scenario, I sit down to watch the game because my fantasy player is playing, and he has 2 just sick lobs from Tyrese Halliburton and does nothing else. So, and then I drop him, but it'll be fun.
Yeah,
and maybe it'll turn out really well.
Just playing a league that gives bonus points for lobs, man. You'd be totally fine.
All right, so Zach didn't have to worry about considering Herb Jones since he's just gone off the board here. So, what do you think of your last round pick? Talk us through it.
You know what, man? I love Jay Rich right here. I think he's going to start and play big minutes for Miami. But you know what? I think with my build and with the uncertainty around the lineup, with Tobias Harris getting old, with James Harden maybe, moving on, maybe with a little fluctuation here and with a new signing, let's go with Kelly Oubre, man. Let's take a chance. What the hell?
Oh, okay.
We're going. I know. Raph is like, oh, that's what you talk all this up, and that's what you do.
You heard
I have no issue with it.
Okay.
Raph was so disappointed. I'm sorry, Raph.
No worries, man. All right, I am on the board here.
Just don't do it again, Zach.
I know. I was like a little kid that got scolded. He's like, oh, okay.
I'm going to go with another Mavericks. I'm going to go with a Mavericks player who's a presumed starter at this point, in Grant Williams.
Yes.
I think he's someone that can do more than what he was able to show in Boston. How much more, I don't know, just because he's still with two really high usage players. But being in a fixture in that starting lineup, good 3-point shooter, I think he's someone who's going to have really good value if you can get him final 2 rounds of standard league drafts this year.
I like Williams, man. In my mind, he's still living off the equity of those 7 3-pointers against Milwaukee back in Game 7, man. I like Grant Williams a lot, dude. And this is a lineup that's Kyrie and Luka and then free for all. So there's a chance for him to see some big minutes.
Yeah, I like Batman a lot. I was pretty surprised. Let's see. He might still go with this very last pick, but I had Cam Thomas in my queue. I was really thinking about it, but I didn't end up pulling the trigger. Al Horford was the last pick. So, no, it wasn't Cam Thomas, but he started last night for Brooklyn. He's probably going to be their 6th man, but it really seems like he's going to get that kind of 6-man role of come in and just shoot, man. Just be a spark plug. We need some shot creators. Come in and try and do that. I think that's the perfect role for him. That's what he's needed for the first few years of his career, is just somebody to say, hey, you're not going to be the superstar of the team, but when you're on the floor, you are our offensive scoring. Like, you are. So I think he's going to compete for 6th man of the year. It'll be him, Emmanuel Quickly, other guys, obviously, but I think he's going to be one of those final candidates.
So who was the actual last pick? Because my board isn't showing.
Al Horford.
Al Horford. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Just I mean, he's gonna be good, but it's not a pick I would make just because I like to do the fun picks late, the upside swings late. He's not an upside swing, he's a safe pick, but if that's what you do in the late rounds, that's totally fine. Like, that's a safe pick.
So one by one, let's run down our drafts here. First for Noah, got Embiid 2nd overall, Jimmy Butler the 2nd round, Lauri Markkanen 3rd round, OG Anunoby, Nick Claxton, Brooke Lopez, Andrew Wiggins, Derek White, CJ McCollum, DeAnthony Melton, Jordan Clarkson, Kobe White, and Obi Toppin. How are you feeling about your draft now that we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I mean, there was some picks I really liked, some picks I didn't love. I really like Andrew Wiggins. It was probably a tad early for him, but that's where I had to take him, so I have no issues with that one. Brooke Lopez didn't love. CJ McCollum didn't love. Even though they're good players, they're just not guys that I really feel confident in. But I'm sure it'll end up being – they're going to be good, so I have no issue with it. They're just not, I don't know, my guys. But I was able to get Derek White. Loved that one. Jimmy Butler, I'm really high on this year, just probably more so because I think a lot of people lump him in with the group of guys that are going to sit back-to-backs, miss games, don't want to play during the regular season, whatever. But he didn't fit that mold last year. I don't think he will this year. So I like that one. Like I said, was really happy with the Claxton pick. Like Markkanen a lot this year. So yeah, overall, I like my team. Don't love it, but I think it's a lot of the guys that I've been getting in drafts, you guys, either you guys took early or somebody else took early. And not that it was too early, but just took before I had a chance to get them, such as, honestly, a lot of drafts I've done, even from the 2 spot or the 3 spot, has been Chet Holmgren in the 4th round, Josh Giddey in the 5th round, Jalen Williams in the 6th round, just going very Thunder heavy, but wasn't able to get any of those guys this time. So,
all right, Zach, you started out with Giannis at pick number 6, Pascal Siakam in the 2nd round, Miles Turner in the 3rd, Drew Holiday in the 4th, Scotty Barnes in the 5th, Paolo Banchero 6th round, John Morant in the 7th, Marcus Smart in the 8th, so you get a little, I wouldn't call it a stack, but you cover yourself with Morant suspended. 9th round, Robert Williams. 10th round, Bruce Brown. 11th round, Christian Brown. Jonathan Kuminga in the 12th, and Kelly Oubre in the 13th. How are you feeling about your squad?
Dude, this may be my favorite draft that I've done so far this off season. I'm absolutely loving this one. I leaned into that free throw punt build, but I was able to, build on some of my weaknesses later. I think I'll compete in points. I'll compete in field goal percentage, in both the defensive categories and steals and blocks. With some of the guys that I got, I don't think I'm going to be crushed in 3-pointers. I really genuinely like this squad right here. And I like my late round picks. Jonathan Kuminga, I think, he showed out in preseason play the other day. With Chris Paul there now, potentially injury prone. Draymond Green sitting out. I think maybe we see a Jonathan Kuminga breakout here, and maybe we get a little bit of Kelly Oubre up in Philly. So yeah, really digging this team, man. No bias at all.
All right. Last but not least, my squad went Steph Curry, 8th overall pick. Got Anthony Davis, 2nd round. Cade Cunningham, the 3rd. De'Aaron Fox in the 4th. Zion Williamson, 5th round. Devin Vassell, 6th round. Mark Williams, 7th round. Jalen Green, 8th round. Shaden Sharp in the 9th. Josh Hart in the 10th. Mike Conley in the 11th. Derek Lively in the 12th. And Grant Williams in the 13th. I think I've got a pretty good group here. I'm pretty happy to get Anthony Davis in the 2nd round. But I did, roll the dice on some guys from a health standpoint. When you talk about Davis or Zion Williamson, those two guys really stick out from a health standpoint. But I think some of my middle round guys, I really like Mark Williams, Devin Vassell. I think Jalen Green can be better, and I think Shaden Sharp can take a step forward there too. So like everyone else, I feel really good about my team at this point in the season. By about January, I'd probably be wanting to trade half the squad. So that's how these things work out.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts from either of you on this?
I was going to say, Raph, I liked how you went. You just got value early, and then that allowed you to take some upside swings. I mean, you mentioned the injury risk. Sure, I think everybody's at risk to get injured. But you got Steph Curry, a good value. AD at incredible value. I mean, you see him going in the 1st round a lot, which allowed you kind of in the middle to later rounds to take some more upside swings on guys like Shaden Sharp. Jalen Green probably isn't an upside swing because that was also good value, but even Derek Lively. Everybody's taking late round swings, so maybe that's a little bit different. And then Zach, man, you said you loved it, but it's very much a Zach Hanshew draft. Like getting Bruce Brown and Christian Brown back-to-back rounds. Like that made me smile because I was like, yeah, those are Zach picks right there. So I'm not surprised that you absolutely love your team. I think it's a very good team, but that's a team that I know you're going to be very passionate about.
Yeah.
That's right, man. Get your guys.
Got to.
All right. Well, once again, thanks to everyone who participated in this mock draft. Thanks to Zach and Noah for coming on. And thank you all for watching. Rotoworld.com will have our industry mock draft, 12-team 8-cat Wednesday afternoon. That will go out publicly Thursday evening if you want to watch a video of that. So be doing that. We've also got our draft guide out. If you use code HOOPS23, get 20% off the draft guide and a $10 e-gift card to fanatics.com. So if you need some gear for a new season, $10 head start never hurt anybody. So once again, thank you all for watching and have a good night.